Wonderful. Good evening and welcome to this new webinar organized by Biomimicry Switzerland. My name is Michaela Emsch, and on behalf of our association, I'm very happy to welcome you all. Also, welcome to Vinisha, my colleague and member of the association who handles the technical aspects. And as you heard, this session is recorded. If you don't wish to show your face, just put your camera off. Otherwise, I mean, it's a very friendly and laid back conversation we're going to have. No big worries. This is a part of 5 dives into practical applications of biomimicry that we started in January with urban design. Then we talked about solutions for the seaweed industry, social innovation for successful partnerships, mimicking the mycelium networks. Last month, we talked about lasers and applications at the nano level to mimic forms from nature. These videos are available on Biomimicry Switzerland's website if you missed them. I hope Vinisha will post a link to them in the chat. This one will also be available there and will be uploaded very soon. Today, we'll talk about corporate leadership design and implementation inspired by organisms from the African Savanna. And this is the 5th and last of this webinar series. We will be back in September with a new formula. We'll let you know, keep you posted. We'll take a little bit of a break, go back into nature to get some inspiration, and we'll be back in September. As you realize, diversity and interdisciplinarity were the master concepts of this Biomimicry Switzerland webinar series. We're very happy to have Silvia Mirandola tonight, a fellow biomimic, a colleague I was on a panel with a few months ago, a fellow fan of the African Savanna. She's the author of the book Leadership Safari, of which I have a copy here, and I think you should all go and get yours. She also founded a company providing coaching services for companies based on biomimicry, and released these cards that are also wonderful called WeBiomimic. And tonight she'll tell us about how the experts of the African Savanna can tell us things about leadership and how we should behave in order to have a better teamwork in our companies, our communities. Just a couple of house rules. Please mute yourself while you're not speaking. Silvia will take your questions at the end. If some pressing question arises, please type it in the chat, and Vinisha will take a note of them. And if it's really, really urgent, please raise your hand and we will accommodate as soon as we can. So without further ado, Silvia, welcome. Thank you for being here, and please introduce yourself and your topic. We're all ears.
Thank you very much, Michaela. Thank you very much to Biomimicry Switzerland for having invited me today to deliver this workshop that it will be focused on the application of biomimicry on social innovation. And particularly, we will see how we can be inspired by African Savanna to learn something more about leadership. So before starting, one second. So let me introduce myself. So I'm Silvia Mirandola. I'm a biologist by education, a Ph.D. in the field of virology, and I've been for many years a biomedical scientist, focusing my research on viral hepatitis. I'm a biomimicry lover, and I'm also an accredited certified coach by ICF. And I lead, as you can see in this picture, also Shirin-yoku experiences. Shirin-yoku is a Japanese word that means forest bathing. And in everything I do, I try to be a culture to help people to reconnect to nature, and also to create kindness within themselves, with other people, and also with the planet. I'm the author of WeBiomimic for team effectiveness and of a book, Leadership Safari, but we will explore these in the further slides. So what we will explore today. So we'll start by speaking about the current situation we are all experiencing, where there is an urgent need of a new model. We'll speak a little bit about biomimicry, giving some biomimicry hints. We'll explore the meaning of leadership and how nature can be a model for leadership, and specifically we will focus on the habitat of African Savanna, meeting some of natural mentors, some natural experts to learn something about leadership. And at the end, I will show you what is WeBiomimic and conclusion. So there is no doubt that we are living in an age of disruption where the mainstay is the VUCA. VUCA stands for volatility, that because we are in continuous change, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And if we metaphorically look outside the window, what can we see? Well, let me say that the world is really a mess in these last decades. We are seeing forests on fire, and that lead to the problem of deforestation. There is a lot of pollution in the air, on the ocean. There is discharge of oil in the water of ocean, leading to the death of many birds and fishes. And we all know that we are experiencing a pandemic and a terrible war. And if we look inside companies and organizations, what will we see? Well, the situation is not much different. We can see from this data I got from the web, also from Gallup and Harvard Business Review, that 82% of managers aren't good at leading people, 70% of cross-functional teams are dysfunctional, 86% of employees and executives report that workplace failures are due mainly to a lack of collaboration and ineffective communication. And this is a number, a very recent number, 52% of workers are feeling burnt out, especially after the pandemic. So let me provoke you with a very powerful question from Professor Otto Scharmer of MIT of Boston. So Professor Scharmer asked, the fact is that we collectively create results that nobody wants in almost any kind of system today. So how can we make sense of that? So at the root of all the problems we are experiencing, there is an old model that is based on very dysfunctional concepts such as growth, control, take and consume, winner takes all, disconnection, silos rather than shared leadership, reductionism, and isolation. So there is no doubt that we desperately need a new model. And this new model should lead to a transition from ecosystem to ecosystem. And I provoke you again with another powerful question. This time is a question from Janine Bainus, the founder of Biomimicry. So what if every time we have a problem, we ask, how would nature solve this? So this is the big question. In 2019, I was lucky to attend an exceptional course about biomimicry for social innovation. It was absolutely the aha moment for me, and it was an epiphany, because in biomimicry, I could find the meeting point of all my skills and experiences. But what is biomimicry? I want to define biomimicry with the definition by Tamsin Woolley-Barker, that she is the author of Teaming, a very nice book that I really recommend you to read. And she said that biomimicry is the art and science of innovation inspired by nature's genius. Biomimicry is pretty well known in the field of design, architecture, engineering, and in these last years, biomimicry is also a methodology that is applied in the field of social innovation and social behavior. I like every time to find the meaning of words. So biomimicry comes from the ancient Greek, and it literally means mimicking life. From bios, that means life, and mimeistai, that means to imitate. So biomimicry is the emulation or imitation of the life genius. Biomimicry consider nature as a mentor because it looks at nature as an experienced and trusted advisor, as a model because it uses nature models for new ways of communicating, adapting to change and collaborating, and as a measure because it uses ecological standards to judge the rightness of our solution to problems. Obviously, this translation of mentor, model, and measure are based on a definition of biomimicry applied to social innovation. And behind all the strategies used by nature, there is a dogma. And the dogma is that life creates conditions conducive to life. So everything nature does is to perpetuate life. Biomimicry is gaining more and more importance. And in 2017, it was defined by Fortune as one of the 5 trends to ride for the forward-looking companies. So it's pretty well recognized also at business level. And here I would like to show you some of example of the application of biomimicry. Well, here we can see the classical example that probably you all know. So biomimicry, as I told you before, is an inspiration for engineering. And here we can see the example of the kingfisher, the beak of the kingfisher that was the model for the bullet train in Japan. The burdock was the model for the invention of Velcro. Okay, and the slime mold was also the model for the design of the Tokyo Railway and the network of all the lines. And if we look at biomimicry as a model for social inspiration, I want to cite obviously the book of Michaela Hem, From Nature's Mouth. She wrote this book, and she was looking at nature as a mentor for communication and other social behavior for humans. Here, I would like to show you another application from the team Reverb. It's a team in Italy that has design a team model, a team coaching model called Stormo. Stormo in Italian means flock, and it's a model of team working when they look at the behavior of the flock for teaching to business team collective intelligence. And here, very briefly, I want to show you an application of biomimicry that I personally use with some medical doctors in order to design elimination plan for hepatitis C. So the problem was that the clinician wanted to design a model for collaboration between hospitals, general practitioners, and addiction centers. So we look at the model of epiphytes, ants, butterflies, and fungi in a mutualistic relationship in the mangrove forest, and they design really a very nice model of collaboration among all the facilities I told you to increase and to speed the elimination plan for hepatitis in viral hepatitis in people who inject drugs. So now let's have a look on leadership. What is leadership? Well, you know, leadership brings to mind several definitions, and I particularly like this definition. Leaders are people who do the right thing. Managers are people who do things right. And let me say that people do the right thing not only for themselves, but also for the others. Leaders set vision and goals, and above all, leaders are innovators. They must bring innovation. So there are many shades of leadership. There isn't only one style of leadership. There are many, because everybody has unique leadership skill. And we should discover the qualities that will make us stand out from the crowd. Have you ever thought which are the qualities that make you stand out from the crowd? So I would like you to write in the chat, if you want, which are the qualities you think are crucial and define your leadership.
Silvia, did I understand you right? What are the qualities we have as a leader? Or
yeah, which are the qualities we have that make us stand out from the crowd and being a leader? Yes.
Okay.
Connectivity, communication, and kindness. Someone else want to add something? It's not compulsory, but strong and clear vision, compassion, breaking large project into bite-sized pieces, resiliency, ability to listen deeply, They are all of them are very important, and they are showing you that there are different shades of leadership. Active listening, for me, for example, is creativity. So consistency, leader even without a title. That's interesting, Vinisha. Trustworthiness. Okay, so I try now to introduce you how can nature be a model, a mentor, and a measure for leadership. And I try to introduce you this topic by watching this magic video. If I can, sorry, I try. Sorry. So I hope you like this video. Every time I watch this video, I still shiver. It was a video created by Rewild. It's a company in South Africa. They are really great. And it's absolutely something that touched me in the deep every time I watch. So I wrote Leadership Safari in 2020, beginning of 2021, during the pandemic. That the pandemic was really a moment of great creativity for me. And the book blends a concept of biomimicry, of biology, of executive coaching, leadership, management, and also mindfulness. So in few words, let me say that it's an holistic view an holistic view of who I am, because it puts together all my competencies. So the book is set in the African Savanna. The African Savanna is a very important habitat because it has signed an evolutionary step for the human being, because it's the place where there was the transition from walking on 4 limbs to walking on 2 limbs. So you know what, I say that probably the savannah was the right place to look at, to find inspiration for another evolutionary transition. So from the transition from ecosystem to ecosystem, from being a manager to being a leader. And in this book, there are 3 stars: the cheetah, the whistling thorn, and the African elephant. So what can we learn from these natural mentors about leadership? The whistling thorn is a particular species of acacia that we can find in the African savanna. So another dogma of biomimicry is the context. The context can have an impact, a huge impact on the function, on the strategies, and also on the behaviors of the organism. So understanding the context is the very first step when we question natural mentors. And this savanna is an habitat characterized by 3 main factors. So the first factor is that is a place where there are constant changing condition, and it's a very harsh place because it has warm temperature year round. There is a lack of water during the dry season. And the other factor is that there is cooperation and competition. So I like to say that it's characterized by co-opetition, and it relies on an interdependent community. So all organisms depend on each other to keep the environment in balance. So understanding and analyzing the context we operate from is extremely important to start our evolutionary journey for leadership. And in the book on page 5, you can find a very nice exercise that support you in exploring the context and the operating condition you need to respond to. But let me introduce you Sir Cheetah. It's the first mentor we meet today. The cheetah is the fastest land animal in the world. Imagine that it can reach 0 to 60 miles in only 3 seconds. He's a piece of natural engineering. All his body is adapted to high speed, and he's defined the Ferrari of the savannah. He's a visual hunter. He hunts during the days by spotting the prey on the horizon and having stalking attitude. But he's also very vulnerable because cheetahs cannot eat the prey immediately after the hunt because of the huge loss of energy they have spent in the burst of very high speed. And they have a flexible social life. So they are a mix of solitary, especially for females, and social for males. Here you can see how the body is shaped for high speed. Just to remind, they have semi-retractable claws in order to maintain traction and to gain speed while running, and they have a long tail that acts like a rudder to steer quickly the direction while chasing. So what can we learn from cheetah? Here, there are some advice we can get by looking at the behavior and also the physiology of the cheetah. So first of all, cheetah is teaching us a strategic speed because he's calling manager to act quickly, to work feverishly for very short span of time, especially when there are very short deadlines, to set a strategic goal and to chase the one with the highest probability of success. So when we have a very short time, a very short deadline, we should focus we should prioritize and choose the goal with the highest probability of success. But strategic speed goes in hand with vulnerability, as I told you before, because the cheetah cannot consume the prey and immediately after the hunt, so the prey can be stolen by other animals. So cheetah is calling us to act that acting quickly may result to losing our race. So vulnerability is the risk we need to take if we want to achieve great results. And then he's a master of attention and focus. He spot the prey by climbing in the trees or on a termite mounds, and is calling us to focus attention and intention, pre-analyze the market, our environment, the business, and channel energies toward the thing we want to achieve. And the last but not the least, he's teaching us to be agile, to quickly adjust the direction as he does with the tail, to define the tools that allow the company or ourselves to steer sharply in the market. The second mentor is the whistling thorn. The whistling thorn, as I told you before, is a particular species of acacia with thorn that it uses as a defensive strategy. It has this particular thorn. They are like a small balloon that gives shelter to 4 different species of ants. And each species live on the plant at particular stage of the plant according to the needs the plant has in that particular moment. So this kind of mutualistic relationship is called sequential partnership. And there are mutual benefits for both the plants because the different ants act as a bodyguard when the plant needs to be defended by grazer. They are growth controller when in the time of reproduction, and there are ants that are also reproduction controller, especially when the plant needs to grow. And in exchange, the plant gives shelter, gives a house to the ants, and also it provides food with nectar. So the whistling thorn is teaching us this strategy is calling us to think about the different partner we need at each stage of our business according to the particular need we have in that particular time of our project, for example. And here I've also put here that the whistling thorn is a teacher of interdependency because it emphasizes that everything is interdependent and interconnected. And so here I have created, by looking at the strategy of the whistling thorn, 6 steps that the company should have to be interdependent, and the company is interdependent when employee adopt this strategy. Everybody is important in the company ecosystem. 2, they work for a common purpose. 3, they develop win-win relationships. So there should be a net benefit for each party. And 4, they are constantly in dialogue with all their stakeholders. 5, they co-evolve. So they adapting to each other and to changing conditions. And 6, the 6th step is they synergize the organization efforts and commitments. And the last, but not the least, the African elephant, this magnificent animal that I really adore. The African elephant is the largest land animal. It's a keystone species, and I will explain what's the meaning of keystone species in the next slide, and also an umbrella species. That means that it indirectly protects other animal and organism in the habitat, in its ecosystem. And the society is based on matriarchal units. So the old female is called matriarch, and it's a repository of social knowledge. And there are differences in relationship by gender. Male are atomistic. It means that they are like single unit, just briefly interacting when there is a common purpose. And female are molecular, so they are bonded really tightly each other, and they form a unit that live together or for all life long. They have multidimensional communication. Imagine that they can communicate also through their legs, their legs, because they have this particular kind of communication that is called seismic communication. So they can communicate to vibes on the ground. And they are absolutely animals characterized by emotional intelligence. So let me explain what's a keystone species. This name comes from the stone in the middle of an arch that keep together all the arch. If you remove this stone, all the arch falls apart. So at the same level, an animal that is defined a keystone species put together the entire ecosystem. And if you remove that animal because is an endangered species, as the elephant is, and also the cheetah is an endangered species, the risk is that you destroy the entire ecosystem. The ecosystem cannot face changing conditions, and it can fall apart. So how the elephant is showing leadership. Elephant is really an extraordinary example of leadership. The matriarch show her leadership by influencing movement and direction of the entire group, okay, of the entire unit. It's a problem solver, and she allows social permissiveness, and also she is the repository of of a great knowledge of not only of the territory, but also of the other groups of elephants they can encounter. And she has perceptual abilities. What does it mean? That she can recognize if another elephant from another group is an enemy or is a friend. So leadership in elephant is established not by dominance, as humans do, okay, but by the respect gained in showing intelligence, knowledge, and direction. And What will you find in the book? So you will meet the African natural mentors, so the 3 mentors I told you, and you will learn with a very easy narrative and words, their biology, their behavior, their surviving strategies, and mutualistic relationship. You will get more advice from the mentors on leadership. I've shown you just a few of them, and it's as the videos say, it is not only a book, it's a practical guide, because you can find practical exercises, coaching exercises that stimulate lateral thinking. There are quotes, and there are some folk tales for each of the mentors, and there are some mindfulness practices inspired by these 3 mentors. So I really want to pinpoint that part of the revenues of this book will be donated to 2 NGO. One is the Cheetah Conservation Fund, and the other one is Save the Elephants. They operate in Africa to protect these 2 endangered species, and to promote biological diversity, and also educate the public, but also the local people, concerning the conservation of these endangered species and their habitat. And at the end of this presentation, let me show with a slide the other product I have created. It's called WeBiomimic. And as Michaela told you, it's a team coaching game for a business team. Okay, it's a very useful tool to generate workshop, 3 different kind of workshop. I call it's a workshop generator, and these 3 kind of workshop are workshop of 1 hour, 2 hour, or 4 hours. Okay, and it consists of 29 cards. Each card represent a natural mentor. Here you can see an example of one card. For example, the African wild dog is an example of collective intelligence. Here we can read very briefly the strategies that this animal adopt to survive. And then in each card, you will find a powerful question to ask to the teams in order to trigger the lateral thinking and to find new solution and innovative solution to solve problems that the team can face. And the last but not the least, this is my very last creation. They are called the CATS coaching cards. This is something for personal development, okay? And the natural mentor is the cat. I love the cat, and I really wanted to make this product as a tribute to this extraordinary mentor that can teach us a lot. So again, by looking and studying the behavior and the physiology of the cats in the scientific literature, I want to remind that I've been a scientist, so everything is based on science of what I do. So by looking at papers, I distill 30 competencies, 30 qualities from the cat that we can look at to improve our personal development. So I want to thank you again. Here I leave you my contact. So this is the website of Biomimicry for Business that I have founded with Diana Tedoldi. She is the owner of a school that is nature inspired coaching. And here you can find also my email. Thank you very much, and Michaela, or Vinisha, I leave you to close the presentation before questions.
Thanks very much, Silvia. This is very insightful. I know your work since a few months, and I am always still fascinated by insights you bring when you present it. So, yeah, just a little bit of a self-promotion for Biomimicry Switzerland. We're doing these webinars for free. If you wish to support us in order to foster biomimicry further and to continue the good work we've been doing with these webinars, please consider donating or join us as a member of the association. Even if you're not in Switzerland, we accept everyone. Our meetings are in English, but we're welcoming everyone. And please follow us on social media. We have a Facebook and LinkedIn, and all our videos are available on our channel on YouTube. So go and visit, like, share, subscribe, do all the nice stuff. And now I would like to call in Vinisha to see if she found questions in the chat. I posted a couple. I have so many questions to Silvia, but maybe first from the audience, please.
We have one from Nadine Falk, and she asks if it would be possible to purchase an ebook version of your book.
Yeah, absolutely. There is also the ebook. You can, if you have a look on internet on Google and you put the title of my book, there is also the ebook that you can purchase. Absolutely.
I saw something coming by on the chat, which was a comment by, who was it? Hydrogen economy in 4 colors. That's Daniel. What did you mean about that? Just unmute yourself and go for it. If Daniel's still here. No more Daniel? Yes, he is. Well, maybe he's just jumped out. New renewable.
I don't see the question, Michaela.
It was a little bit up on the chat. I'm not sure we can hear you, Daniel.
New renewable.
Yeah, he was saying something with the 4.
Yeah, because there was a first excellence, thanks, rating 11, no 10.
And there was something ahead of that when you were saying the 4 different types of ants that live in the whistling thorn. And I think he was commenting hydrogen economy, 4 colors, and I don't understand what he means, but so I don't know. Maybe he'll get back to us. I have a very important question. I have your book and I can see how practical the applications are. Can you please expand on how you transpose the abstracted question you asked to nature and how you can bring it back to human solutions?
Yeah, you mean, Michaela, how we can use the book for a very, okay, first of all, the book is a practical tool because it's a self-coaching. It could be, first of all, a self-coaching tool to improve leadership. So all the exercises you can find inside are exercises that you can do on yourself by journaling. So absolutely, it's a coaching tool that you buy and you can use immediately by answering at the question. Second use you can make with this book, especially if you are a coach, a facilitator, a trainer, you can use the book, for example, to think about some practical exercises for clients that you have, executives, for example, for business team, and you can offer some of these exercise probably in a workshop or during a face-to-face, a one-on-one conversation in a coaching session, for example. So the book is absolutely practical. It's not theory, but it's an experiential journey, let me say. And for example, I've used as an executive coach, I've used some of these exercises with some clients that they need was to improve their leadership, and I asked them to choose one of these mentors, and we work on one of these mentors following all the exercises in different sessions, of course.
I see Vinisha has a question. Go for it, Vinisha.
Okay, Silvia, I was wondering, what is your favorite animal? Maybe one that's in the book, or is there another one that inspired you to shift to a different style of leadership?
Yeah, so to be honest, the cheetah is also the symbol of biomimicry for business. Okay, so the cheetah has arrived to me in a magic way. Okay, I felt that the cheetah had to be the symbol of biomimicry for business, and I didn't know why. I didn't know. It was intuition. And when I started to look at in the deep at this mentor, it was incredible. It was like an epiphany. I discovered so many qualities that this animal can teach us. And I love felines. I love cats. So this is he's a big cat, and I really love him. And probably this summer, I really hope so, I will go to work for 2 weeks as a volunteer in the study center in Namibia, where the Cheetah Conservation Fund has the center to help them with cheetahs. So yeah, cheetah.
I have another question because I'm the one with the questions. You were saying that in biomimicry, context is key. You were talking also about this VUCA world we are in. So that's like a constatation after the situation arises, but the cheetah is supposed to also anticipate. How can we anticipate changes in the context? Of course, the cheetah tries to anticipate. Is there other mentors that are very anticipatory in biology?
Yeah, I think that apart the cheetah, I think that the elephant is a master of this because, as I told you before, he's a multi-channel communicator. All his body is like an instrument for communication. So in his communication, it has perceptual abilities. So it means that through the seismic communication, it can perceive if there are changes, if something is happening. So absolutely, the elephant is the kind of mentor we should look at for anticipating changes.
So if you're saying the elephant is a great mentor, how can we make sure that we keep our senses ready for contextual change? Like in a company, what would be the organs that you use?
Yeah, exactly, Michaela. You have used now an example of questions that there are in the book, and this is a kind of question which are the tools or the sensor, the antenna you can use in your company, in your business to sense changing condition and to adapt quickly to changing condition. Yeah, absolutely. For example, also the tail of the cheetah, as I told you before, it acts like a rudder to steer very quickly direction. So there is a sentence in the book asking, which is the rudder you use, which is the rudder you use to change quickly direction when there is the need of changing direction.
Does anybody else have a question about one of the mentors? I'm sure there's tons of questions about these fascinating species. I have so many, even though I know them quite well. I'm a big fan of the African painted dog you showed. I think their social structure is extremely interesting, and the collaborative hunting makes them very successful, for example. So any other questions from the audience? Don't be shy.
Yeah, and also according to the question I got before, I forgot to say that you can find all the products in our website of Biomimicry for Business, except the e-version of the book. You can find all the other products on the Biomimicry for Business website on the page shop.
So if somebody would like the ebook, they should contact you per email. Right?
No, they can have a
Google
look.
it.
Let me see if I can
actually
find, so I can share
Amazon
the link.
I actually shared the Amazon link. So
yeah, the book is sold by Amazon also, but for the ebook, it's not Amazon. One second that I give you. Okay. For example, there is the Kobo. Here there is. I shared in the chat. Okay.
Before we wrap up with you and we do the extra for this session, I would like to ask you, what is your next big project? Now you've done the cats, you've done the book, you've done the cards. What's on your plate for the next month?
So I have in my research and development, personal research and development laboratory, I would like to deliver another card deck because I love cards, regarding other different animals and plants to get learnings from each of them regarding our self-development. And so what I have already a draft of the cards, and
are we looking at another ecosystem, or are we going to?
No, different ecosystems. So it's you know, a potpourri of a mix of ecosystems.
Excellent. Yeah.
And also I would like to create something regarding the fauna and flora of the Ugandan hills, that are the hills in the nearby where I live, and they are absolutely fantastic. And I would like to create something about animals and plants of the Ugandan hills in the Veneto region in Italy.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Silvia. If there's no more questions, I'll start our thanks and wrap up. So thanks to you all for your questions, your interest. Thanks to the co-organizers of this. Thanks to Silvia, of course, to Bruno. Thanks to Benicia, who is always co-hosting this with me. Thanks to everyone who attended. To us, it is extremely important to get your feedback and also your wishes for future webinars or other formats that you would like to have. We're always looking for not only great ideas, but also speakers, potential speakers. If you have something of interest that you would like to share, we are a platform to make people discover new ideas if they kind of fit into the biomimicry framework or on the verge of it. So please don't be shy, write to us, visit our website, all that nice stuff. So donate if you can, if you want. And before we go, again, we'll be back in September with a new format, with new speakers, new topics. And yeah, come back after the summer break. Have a wonderful summer. Connect to nature, connect to yourself, connect to your communities. And thanks for being here, everyone, and for this great series of webinars we had. Thanks to all the former speakers as well. Thanks, Venetia. I think we can stop the recording.